It was supposed to be the most magical night of the year. A glittering Christmas charity gala where the city's elite gathered under crystal chandeliers and twinkling lights. But when Sophia Chen walked through those golden doors, 7 months pregnant and glowing with hope, she had no idea her entire world was about to shatter in front of hundreds of witnesses. Her husband, Marcus,
This
his
cannot be
secret lover,
undone.
Rachel, her own
You must
mother-in-law,
understand the
Victoria.
consequences.
They all thought they could break her. They thought no one would stop them. They were wrong. What happens next will leave you speechless. But first, tell us in the comments, have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? We read every single one. The Grand Ashford Hotel sparkled like a snow globe come to life. Sophia adjusted her emerald green maternity dress, the silk flowing gently over her belly as she stepped inside beside Marcus. She'd chosen this dress carefully, hoping its elegance would remind him of the woman he'd married, not just the pregnant wife he now seemed to resent. But Marcus didn't even look at her. He walked 3 steps ahead, his eyes scanning the crowd as if searching for someone more important. The gap between them wasn't just physical, it was a canyon that had been growing for months. Sophia touched her belly instinctively, feeling her baby kick as if sensing her mother's anxiety. You're walking too slowly. People are staring. Victoria's sharp voice cut through the Christmas music. Marcus's mother appeared like a shadow, her face twisted in barely concealed disgust as she glanced at Sophia's stomach. Before Sophia could respond, another woman glided toward them. Rachel Monroe, the woman whose perfume Sophia had smelled on Marcus's shirts, the woman whose name appeared in late-night text messages. She wore a blood-red dress that demanded attention, and her smile was pure venom as she looked Sophia up and down. Marcus immediately moved toward Rachel, leaving his pregnant wife standing alone in the center of the ballroom. Sophia's throat tightened. She told herself to stay strong. Not here, not tonight. But the humiliation burned like ice in her chest as she watched her husband lean close to his mistress, whispering something that made Rachel laugh and touch his arm. Across the room, the event's head of security, David Park, watched through discreetly placed cameras. Something about the tension surrounding Sophia made his instincts scream. He adjusted the camera angle, making sure he captured everything. Sophia didn't notice she was being watched. She didn't notice the tall figure who had just entered through the VIP entrance, climbing silently to the balcony overlooking the ballroom. She had no idea her estranged father, the man she believed had abandoned her 5 years ago, was standing above her, his hands gripping the railing so tightly his knuckles turned white. All she knew was the crushing weight of being utterly alone. In a dim corner behind a marble column, Rachel pulled Victoria close. "Tonight," she whispered, her voice dripping with cruelty. "Tonight she needs to understand she doesn't belong here." Victoria's lips curved into a cold smile. "My son deserves better than her. This will help him see that." Rachel picked up a glass of deep crimson wine from a passing server. She studied it like a weapon. One splash is all it takes. They moved through the crowd like predators circling prey. Sophia felt their approach before she saw them. Every instinct told her to move, but the crowd pressed too close. Elegant gowns and designer suits formed a wall around her. There was nowhere to go. Rachel stopped directly in front of her, the wine glass gleaming under the chandelier. "You look exhausted, darling. Maybe you should go home and rest." Rachel's voice was loud enough for nearby guests to hear, sweet on the surface, poison underneath. Victoria joined her side, placing a hand dramatically over her chest. "Yes, dear, this is clearly too much for you in your condition." She said the last word like it was something shameful. Sophia forced herself to breathe. "I'm fine, I just want to enjoy the evening." Rachel's smile widened. For one terrible moment, time seemed to slow, then Rachel's wrist flicked. The wine exploded across Sophia's face, warm, sticky liquid splashing into her eyes, soaking her hair, staining her beautiful green dress with streaks of dark red. The shock stole her breath. The room gasped as one living organism. "Oh my!" Victoria's fake concern was theatrical. "She spilled it all over herself." I'm so sorry, Rachel cooed, not even trying to hide the triumph in her eyes. My hand slipped. Sophia stood frozen, wine dripping down her neck, mixing with the tears that had begun to fall. Her baby kicked hard, a painful jolt against her ribs, her legs trembled, the room spun. Marcus watched from across the ballroom. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't defend his wife. Above them all, the figure on the balcony released the railing. His jaw was set with barely contained rage. Everything was about to change. Enough! The single word exploded through the ballroom like thunder. Every conversation stopped. Every head turned toward the balcony. A tall man stood at the top of the grand staircase, his presence commanding instant silence. He descended slowly, each footstep echoing through the frozen room like a judge approaching the bench. Marcus's face drained of all color. "Mr. Chen," he whispered, the name tasting like ashes. Alexander Chen, tech billionaire, philanthropist, owner of half the city's most valuable real estate, walked straight toward his daughter. The crowd parted automatically, creating a path. Sophia's heart stopped. "Dad." The word came out broken, disbelieving. She'd thought he was gone forever. He reached her and gently placed his coat around her shoulders, covering the wine-stained dress. His eyes swept the room with deadly calm. "The pregnant woman you just assaulted," he said, his voice carrying to every corner of the ballroom, "is my daughter." The reaction was immediate and explosive. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones rose. Rachel's face went white. Victoria stumbled backward. Marcus looked like he might be sick. "This mansion," Alexander continued, his arm protectively around Sophia, "belongs to me. You humiliated my daughter in my home." He pulled out his phone. "David, send the footage to the authorities, now." Within minutes, police officers entered through the main doors. The security footage played on nearby screens showing everything. Rachel's deliberate throw, Marcus's cold indifference, Victoria's cruel satisfaction. Rachel began sobbing. "I didn't mean, please." "Save it," Alexander said coldly. Officers placed handcuffs on Rachel and Victoria. Marcus was pulled aside for questioning. The entire ballroom watched as the three people who tormented Sophia were led away in disgrace. Sophia collapsed against her father, finally safe. 3 days later, the courtroom was packed. The viral video had been viewed over 50 million times. The world was watching. The judge's voice was firm. Assault, conspiracy, and public humiliation of a vulnerable person. All 3 defendants are found guilty. Rachel received 6 months and mandatory anger management. Victoria got community service and a restraining order. Marcus lost custody rights and faced a massive divorce settlement. Outside the courthouse, snow fell gently as Sophia stood beside her father. Reporters shouted questions, but Alexander simply held his daughter close. "I'm sorry I left," he whispered. "I thought I was protecting you from my failures. I was wrong." Sophia looked up at him, tears in her eyes. "You came back when I needed you most. That's what matters." As they walked toward the waiting car, Sophia placed a hand on her belly. Her baby kicked, strong, healthy, hopeful. She'd walked through fire and survived. With her father by her side and her child growing safely within her, the future finally looked bright. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe. Sophia's journey reminds us that even in our darkest moments, hope can return when we least expect it. Have you ever found strength you didn't know you had? Have you ever been rescued by someone you thought was gone forever? Share your story in the comments below. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And remember, you are stronger than you know, and you are never truly alone. We'll see you in the next story. Until then, take care of each other.